Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In this Viking Rise guide, we are going to take a look at optional skills. There is a lot to cover here, so please do share this video within your respective tribe and server socials such as Discord chats, as this is an important one. The skills guide will be broken into two parts. This video will be part 1 and will focus on skill mechanics. And I will offer you my recommended top 4 skills that I myself have had great success with. The second part of this video will be released at a later date and will focus on specific skill combinations. So without further ado, let's begin. Skills are obtained through skill summons in the Hall of Valor, where you have the chance to obtain a few shards of any skill of any grade. If you are lucky enough, you may obtain a whole skill. When this happens, and you do not already own the skill will be instantly unlocked. If you already own the skill, however, you will instead receive 100 shards for that particular skill. Each ascension level from 1 to 5 require 100 shards each, whereas level 6 requires 200 shards to complete. That's the same as generic hero shards. Generic skill shards can be used universally to level a skill of your choice. Skills are leveled with skill experience items. These can be obtained in the skill shop, which refreshes daily. So be sure to visit each day to speed up your progress. Before we delve into the actual skills, there is some important information you should be aware of to help you better understand how the skills work. So let's define a few things first. Any battle you engage in plays out as a series of rounds, as you can see here, whereby for every round that occurs, both players in the battle will perform a basic attack and a counterattack. As an example, in round 1, a basic attack is performed by my army, and in response a counterattack is performed by the venomous spider, and vice versa. This is what a typical round of battle looks like. This transaction occurs in each and every round of battle. Also note that counterattacks can be performed on more than one enemy at the same time. For example, should you find yourself fighting on the map and surrounded by enemies that are attacking you, each time each person performs a basic attack on you, you will return the favor with a counterattack. Note that it is not the same basic attacks. That is exclusive to your primary target. The next thing to be aware of is that 1 round is equal to 1 second. Some skills will measure their duration by rounds, others by seconds. But the units are interchangeable. For example, a skill such as Enchanted Pursuit that applies a damage over time for 3 seconds is also applying the damage for 3 rounds. The next term we need to clarify is deployed troops. When a skill affects your deployed troops, it affects all your troops, with no exceptions, including rallies. Hero-led squad is a peculiar one. Having contacted the developers multiple times for a precise definition, it was suggested that hero-led squad was subject to conditions such as only applying to the rally leader's own troops in a rally scenario. However, I have done extensive testing, and I have found there is no discernible difference between deployed troops and hero-led squad. The test I did involved 2 rallies. The first rally was made up of 80,000 pikemen led by Yvette using the skill Baldur's Blessing. 79,999 of the pikemen were my own troops, while 1 troop was provided by a tridemate. We attacked a level 3 Niflung leader. These were the results when practically speaking 100% of the troops were my own. Baldur's Blessing's buff was applied, and we killed 1,424 troops with our counterattack. The second rally was comprised of 40,000 pikemen from myself and 40,000 pikemen from a tribe mate. The same number of troops, led by the same hero with the same skills against the same level 3 Niflung enemy. These were the results when 50% of the rally were external troops. Baldur's Blessing was applied just as it was in the first test, and our counterattack killed 1,438 troops again. All the buffs were applied, and the counterattack damage increase was the same in both rallies. Meaning hero-led squads do indeed buff all troops within the rally, and not just your own troops. The second test conducted by a tribe mate involved sending a ranged hero, Verdandi, into battle with only infantry troops while equipped with a hero-led based skill. And the skill still triggered. So, to summarize, I see no difference between how skills involving deployed troops versus hero-led squads work. They both seemingly buff all of the troops in your attack. Now let us categorize the skills. There are 4 types of skills available. Damage-dealing skills, which offer simple and reliable damage output, such as Odin's Asylum and Battle Hymn. Damage over time skills that are primarily probability-based and spread their damage over the course of a few rounds, such as Hera's Curse and Enchanted Pursuit. Healing and damage mitigation skills, which provide healing and damage reduction, such as Hymn of Life. Shield support and awakening. Technical skills, which have the chance to hinder your enemies, such as silence and disarmament. And lastly, self-buffing skills, which boost your own stats and abilities, such as on alert and enrage. Of course, there are many skills which utilize aspects from multiple categories, like Baldur's Blessing, which deals instant damage and damage over time, as well as providing self-buffs. Some of the skills can also be broken down further into either being predominantly for 1 versus 1 battles or rallies, or predominantly for what I term as map battles, where you are likely to battle multiple opponents at once. An example of skills which excel versus multiple opponents would be Retaliation, which deals massive area of effect damage. Baldur's Blessing, which gives huge boosts to your counter-attack damage while increasing your troops' defense and HP. And Awakening, which offers a 20% reduction to incoming damage. Examples of skills which excel in 1 versus 1 combat and rallies include Hera's Curse and Enchanted Pursuit, both of which inflict crippling damage over time effects. And Battle Hymn, which deals strong unaspected damage to your enemies. Damage mitigation and healing skills could also prove highly effective. Some popular choices include Hymn of Life and Freya's Blessing. Coupled with defensive-based skills such as Wild Indulgence or Awakening would improve the survivability of your troops. I would suggest you use the Skill Recommendations feature for your heroes to give you an idea of which skills may pair well with them. And I will of course give you my own recommendations for the skills I believe are universally powerful. Here are my top 4 top-tier recommended skills based on my experiences so far. And at number 1, Odin's Asylum. This is a powerful all-around skill. There is nothing fancy going on here, just reliable high damage and a nice increase to your skill damage too. You cannot go wrong having this in your setup. The majority of the damage is going to be aimed at your primary target, but the skill damage increase will affect your hero's area of effect active skills where possible too, increasing your damage output in large-scale warfare. And at number 2, Hera's Curse. This is a probability-based skill. Most of the time it is simply a high damage dealing skill, which can apply damage over time effects such as burning, poisoning, and bleeding. But it has the potential to be extremely powerful if luck is on your side. I like pairing Hera's Curse with Odin's Asylum as you have probability meets reliability. The best of both worlds, a lethal combination. Number 3 is Thor's Determination. This is a recent discovery of mine, but put simply, it is incredible raw and reliable damage output against a single opponent. Do not be fooled by the very modest numbers it displays in the skill overview here. Its true power lies in the battle report log. You can see the devastation 3 rounds of a 250% increase to basic attack damage does. Adding up the numbers through the entirety of the fight, this is one of the hardest hitting skills I have encountered. Last, and certainly not least, is Baldur's Blessing. The combination of initial damage, a 100% increase to counter-attack damage for 3 rounds, and the defense and HP stat buffs make this skill extremely versatile. excellent in 1v1 battles, extraordinary in map battles. I recommend these 4 skills because they can be used in any hero combination you can think of, and you'd without question become a formidable foe to your enemies. These skills will produce a well-rounded march capable of dealing huge damage while also boosting your survivability. Next, I will offer my mid-tier skills suggestions that offer good alternatives to use while you are building up your skills collection. And at number 1 is Tidal Attack. This skill offers you raw damage with a base 15% chance of dealing damage every second of the fight. With a bit of luck, this skill can be powerful. Make sure you equip it on the main commander to get the most out of it. At number 2 we have Joint Offense. This has the chance to trigger after each active skill, which is roughly every 10 or 11 rounds. At high levels, the chances of the skill triggering increases, and the damage is pretty high, adding a nice sting to your active skill damage. Number 3 on the list is Tenacity, which takes the sting out of enemy active skills by recovering some wounded troops after each active skill hits you. A nice buff to survivability. And lastly, Broken Armor, which has the chance to complement your other damage-dealing skills by inflicting damage and reducing your enemy's defenses. And that just about covers the first part of our skill guide. Next time, we look at the best skills for specific hero combinations. I hope you enjoyed today's content and perhaps took some inspiration from the things we discussed. Keep an eye out for part 2 coming soon. Until next time, take care, Chief.